Grand rising, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever, wherever, and whoever you are, Happy New Year! And welcome to Awakened Abundance, your go-to channel for that law of attraction, self-improvement, good feeling, vibesy content. Now, if this is your first time with us, we'd like to welcome you to come check out the content, maybe like, share, and subscribe. And to our subscribers, hope you've had a great time over the festivities. And of course, much love to you all. See you guys in the comment section. Now, let's just quickly throw this one out there. Here at Awakened Abundance, this is all just educational, entertainment value stuff. There's no official advice. We're just thankful partakers of this experience that we call life. So with that out of the way, let's talk. So 2024, a brand new year at the beginning of the year. And I'm wondering how everyone's feeling about it. Now, personally, I'd say that while I'm grateful for 2023 and the days and the years and the months and all of that good stuff, 2023 was a year of contrast, challenges, tested me to limits. But it also taught me some stuff. It taught me a bit about myself. And now I'm proud to acknowledge some of the inner work that I've been able to do. I can appreciate some of the things that I went through. Now, as it's January, you know, the topic of New Year's resolutions is just one of the things I wanted to talk about, because it's not something that seems to get discussed as much. I guess that it's not seen as practical by a lot of people. And it's an interesting thing because progression is something that we consider in our jobs. We have to consider at work appraisals. Now, it might not be the same for everyone, but in my background, which is in social care, appraisals are done annually. So on an annual basis, we do appraisals. When you consider our cars, we have to do our MOTs, which are done on an annual. For most people, they might service their cars every year. Boiler checkups, I think, are done annually. So it's interesting that we do those annual checkups for other areas of our lives, but it does feel like the New Year's resolution doesn't really seem to have the same relevance that it did many years ago. So we won't necessarily call it a New Year's resolution, but it is something that I kind of wanted to touch on. So I've been asking myself the question, what was I aiming for in 2023 that I didn't necessarily get to actualize? And I found it to be a positive exercise. There were some things that I achieved and some things that I'm still working on, and that's completely fine. It's good sometimes to have some kind of roadmap, kind of like, where are we going, where have I been, where do I want to go to, sort of thing. On a slightly different topic, I was looking into some zodiac information a little bit earlier. It's a topic of interest. In addition to that, kind of find myself looking into numerology and quantum physics, not because I'm necessarily that smart, but it's just a topic of interest. I heard someone once talk about some quantum physics principles, and I've been dabbling with that. So my wife and I, we're both Capricorns, celebrated our birthdays recently, had a really nice time. I was looking at Capricorn season. Capricorn season starts from the 21st of December, finishes on the 20th of January, I believe. So we're still in Capricorn season. And whilst reading up on Capricorn season, because I was sort of like, I've heard a few people talk about Capricorn season, and, you know, I spoke to some other friends who are Capricorns. It's like, yeah, it's our time, it's our season. I was like, yeah, what does Capricorn season mean? So I looked it up, and it was, I don't know why I was surprised to find this. I suppose in hindsight, it shouldn't be a surprise at all. But in addition to it being a time for warmth and family, it's also said to be a time of reflection as the year ends. And it kind of made me wonder if this is where New Year's resolutions come from. So, you know, during this reflection, I found myself remembering an old conversation, and it was a conversation that I was having with a colleague, and it was years ago. But I think the conversation must have been around the topic of New Year's, because I just remember this person basically saying, oh, well, New Year, same old, I'm going to say vibe, but this person did not say vibe, and I'm sure you know where I'm going with that. So, as we know, this is an abundance channel. But not only is it an abundance channel, I'm mindful of, the late, great Jim Rohn, who proposed that in life, we should always strive to do the best and get the best results that we can. So whatever we're doing, if we can do better, it makes sense to do better because we're the ones that benefit from it. Be the best that you can. And it just occurred to me that is a bit of a contrast, because how is it possible to do the best that you can if you have an underlying mindset which states that, yeah, it's a new year, but nothing's really going to change? I also found myself thinking of another principle that Jim talked about, which was that in life, rather than wishing for a situation to be easier, we should wish that we were better than the circumstances that we're facing, which to me sounded like genius. But then when I thought about it, it's interesting because it's really a practical point of view, but it's not necessarily how we're hardwired to think. So I mentioned earlier that 2023 presented some serious challenges, but what I also found is that it helped me to focus more on what I want. It helped me think more about the actions I was taking to make my desires a reality. I find myself looking back on some of these challenges, and I'm thinking that these issues caused me to educate myself. Some of these challenges were a catalyst for me to walk away from certain negative situations. And I've kind of been putting some of these dots together, almost like as you do a puzzle, the puzzle becoming more recognizable over time. So, on this channel, we are students of universal law. And while observing these laws, it amazes me how these laws are just happening around us and just showing up in our lives. I mean, for many of us, when we get so caught up in the everyday hustle and bustle that we don't necessarily think nothing of it. But while I've been contemplating and pondering on these things, it's just becoming more apparent how people, the timing of things, circumstances, delays, all of these things are all part of that unfolding, and ultimately that design that helps shape our lives. During a seminar, it was called Your Wish is Your Command. I believe I've mentioned this seminar before. It was suggested that when we ask the universe for something, when we commit to that desire, that what begins to happen is that our life shifts in ways that aren't necessarily, they're not ways that we would expect, but things begin to happen and change in order for our desires to manifest. I recall that there was a time where I said that I wanted my life to change. I wanted financial freedom without the need of a job. Something that I could do that was fun, that I enjoyed, and created a degree of finances which I was comfortable with. And this is still in its unfolding. But some of the changes in my reality were not only unexpected rather, but to be honest, pretty uncomfortable. And during these things, I had to find a way to overcome and think and be a little bit resilient while keeping my beliefs level high. I have to say, off the back of all of that, that I stand here at the beginning of a brand new year, and I'm really, really excited as I think on these laws, and I'm finding that my confidence has increased, that my strength has increased physically and otherwise. And even though I don't fully understand how certain things are going to work out, I've found that these challenges have almost been like preparing me and helping center me. So now I'm worrying less and more comfortably taking those actions, taking those leaps of faith. And ultimately, I suppose I have more of an attitude of, I'm going to do the things that I know to do. I'm going to drink my water, stay well hydrated. I'm going to eat well. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to do my affirmations, do my meditations, and do these things with a grateful heart. I'm going to try to release negative thoughts when I'm aware of them. And all of these things that we know to do, I'm just in a place where I'm just going to commit to that and then leave the universe to do the stuff that is outside of my control. And it's really interesting because I'm finding myself more and more at peace and in alignment, which is just a beautiful thing to be able to declare. So it's a new year, and my question and my curiosity to you guys is, who's making some changes? Who's got a new vision board, or who's making strategies and plans to change their life, or who's sitting there thinking, actually, you know what, better the devil you know than the devil you don't, and basically ultimately planning to do the same. I mean, one thing I'll say about abundance and success is that it's often difficult to achieve by being stagnant. So this is just a thought, really. I just felt very inspired to talk about the new year and plans, ideas. Felt like a good time to have this conversation. So feel free to share, like, drop your comments in the comment section. This is Awakened Abundance in a brand new year, wishing you the best for this year. And I'd like to just say thank you for your time. Take care and see you on the next one.